Warships may steal the headlines and cruise liners may dazzle with luxury. But when it comes to raw courage, nothing compares to the vessels built only to save lives. The U.S. Coast Guard's motor lifeboats aren't just machines, they're warriors of the sea. From steel-hulled titans that flip and rise again, to wooden legends that braved hurricane surf with no tech at all, these boats are the unsung backbone of maritime rescue. So what makes these surf-slicing saviors so impressive? Join us as we count down the Coast Guard's most heroic rescue machines. 10. 47-foot MLB upgrade program. When it flips in a storm, rights itself in seconds, and now it's even smarter. But how do you upgrade a legend? Because this boat didn't need saving, but the future of rescue missions might. The original 47-foot MLB was already a beast, self-righting, self-bailing, and able to surf through 30-foot waves like it was nothing. But after nearly 3 decades of hardcore service, the Coast Guard knew it was time to push boundaries again. Enter the 47-foot MLB upgrade program, a full overhaul of sensors, controls, engines, and crew systems to make the best even better. They didn't just give it new parts, they gave it new instincts. It now features state-of-the-art Ray Marine electronics, enhanced radar integration, and multi-engine redundancy that keeps the boat on course, even if a system fails mid-rescue. That's the kind of tech you need when you're surfing whitewater with zero visibility. According to Coast Guard Commandant Carl Schultz, these upgrades are essential for ensuring mission success under the most extreme conditions. But here's the kicker. The original hull remains the same. The steel bones of this lifeboat were so good they didn't need replacing, just sharpening. So next time you see a storm rolling in and one of these vessels slices through the spray, just know it's older than you think, but sharper than ever. The 47-foot MLB can flip, fully capsize, and self-right in under 10 seconds. 9. 29-foot response boat, Small 2, RBS 2. It's fast, light, and mean, but it's not technically a lifeboat. So why is it the Coast Guard's secret weapon? Because when time is oxygen, the RBS 2 wins every time. Designed for rapid coastal patrols and high-speed rescues, this 29-footer has earned nicknames like the jet ski with muscle. With twin outboards pushing over 45 knots, it doesn't just crash through waves, it skims across them. And when a distress call comes from just offshore, this is usually the first boat out of the station. But it's more than fast, it's smart and tactical. Equipped with FLIR infrared, shock mitigating seats, and even ballistic protection, it's built to handle drug busts, border chases, missing swimmers, and more. Even though it's not classified as a traditional MLB, Coast Guard crews use it in critical rescue operations, requiring speed and agility, especially in shallow or debris-filled zones. As one coastie said, the RBS-2 is the knife you bring when everyone else brought a wrench. Used in 1,500-plus missions in its first year, one crew even intercepted a narco sub off the Florida coast. This boat doesn't wait for backup. It is the backup. 8. 23-foot motor surfboat MSB. Before sonar, before engines, before radar, there were boats like this. And this one? It was powered by muscle, grit, and fearlessness. The 23-foot motor surfboat MSB may be the most overlooked vessel on this list, but it's also one of the purest forms of Coast Guard heroism. Small, open-hulled, and either rowed or powered by a tiny engine, MSBs were launched straight into violent surf with nothing but skill and courage. No GPS, no radar, just a compass, an oar, and a life to save. Used heavily in the 1920s and 30s, these boats became the last hope for stranded sailors along the Atlantic and Pacific coasts. Crews trained for years mastering the art of rowing into waves that would terrify today's pilots. And if they flipped, they had to right it by hand. One famous version, CG-253, operated in Cape Cod for over a decade, frequently launching into storms when no other boat would. The MSB wasn't fast, it wasn't advanced, but it was unshakable. These boats were still in use into the 1940s, and what they lacked in tech, they made up in willpower. 7. 37-foot motor lifeboat CG 36500. What happens when a tanker splits in half during a snowstorm, and the only boat available is just 36 feet long? You rewrite rescue history. On February 18, 1952, during a brutal nor'easter off Massachusetts, the oil tanker SS Pendleton snapped in two. Dozens were stranded on the sinking stern. The Coast Guard launched the CG 36500, against all odds and against orders from those who believed it couldn't make it. Aboard were just 4 men. What they did next became legend. Through 60-foot waves and total darkness, they located the broken tanker and pulled 32 men to safety, tripling the boat's rated capacity. The boat should have capsized. The crew should have drowned, but none of them did. As coxswain Bernard Weber later recalled, "We didn't think about dying, we thought about getting the job done." The CG 36500 was designed to hold 12 people. It returned with 36 aboard. Today, it's preserved as a floating museum, a steel and wood testament to the greatest small boat rescue in U.S. history. Hollywood even turned the story into the finest hours. Because when fear knocks, this boat answers. 6. 30-foot surf rescue boat SRB. A boat launches faster than a pickup truck and slams through whitewater like a battering ram. But the wild part? It's designed to roll on purpose. The 30-foot surf rescue boat SRB was introduced in the 1980s for one mission: go where no other boat dares. Smaller, faster, and more agile than standard MLBs, the SRB was engineered for chaos, where jagged rocks, crashing waves, and tight coastal corners demand split-second decisions. Its low-slung profile cuts through surf like a knife. It features self-bailing decks, shock-mitigating seats, and a hull reinforced for repeated abuse. But its secret weapon? A self-righting design that lets it flip upside down and return upright in under 8 seconds. As one veteran coastie put it, "You don't drive an SRB, you hang on and aim." Often deployed in high surf locations like Ocean Beach, California, the SRB thrives where larger boats stall. It's not built for comfort, it's built to strike fast, take a hit, and survive. This isn't a rescue boat you ease into. This is a rescue boat you fight in. 5. 52-foot motor lifeboat Victory Class. This one had a name. That's how serious it was. And when weather forced cutters to turn back, this boat kept going. The 52-foot motor lifeboat, also known as the Victory Class, was one of the Coast Guard's most elite and rugged vessels. Built in the 1950s, it was deployed in the brutal surf of the Pacific Northwest, where storms chew up coastlines and swallow boats whole. With a massive steel hull, twin engines, and the ability to withstand 70-knot winds and 30-foot surf, this wasn't just a lifeboat. It was a fortress at sea. Unlike any MLB before or after, these boats had names: Victory, Triumph, Invincible, and they earned them. In one harrowing night mission, the Invincible led a rescue off Cape Disappointment, navigating total darkness and pounding surf to return with every survivor and no damage. Each 52-footer had a 5-man crew, including an engineer and coxswain, making it the closest thing to a rescue ship. They could stay out 24 hours, endure the worst, and log 30,000-plus nautical miles before retirement. And yet, Triumph was lost in 1961. A reminder that these boats were bold, but never invincible. 4. 47-foot motor lifeboat. During a storm, it flips, rights itself, and just keeps going. But here's what nobody tells you. It was designed to be nearly indestructible. Introduced in 1997, the 47-foot motor lifeboat quickly became the Coast Guard's most versatile and dependable rescue vessel. Built for 60-knot winds, 30-foot seas, and 20-foot surf, it doesn't hesitate. It charges. Its defining feature? It can capsize in a violent wave and self-right in 8 to 10 seconds. No switches, no help, just flawless engineering and a perfect center for gravity. It carries 4 crew, holds up to 20 survivors, and is loaded with advanced systems, thermal imaging, digital navigation, and precision radio tech. From Alaska's icy coast to Florida's hurricane zones, over 200 of these units are stationed nationwide. And when helicopters are grounded and options run dry, this boat still launches. As one senior officer put it, the 47-footer isn't flashy, but it will bring you home when nothing else can. Not only is it reliable, it's legendary, and it set the bar for every lifeboat that came after. But to understand its roots, we have to look further back. 3. 44-foot motor lifeboat. It's steel, it's angry, and for over 40 years, it was the most trusted lifeboat in America. But the real shock? It refused to be retired. Launched in 1963, the 44-foot motor lifeboat was the Coast Guard's first widely deployed steel-hulled rescue vessel. Built to handle 20-foot surf and gale-force winds, it was self-righting, self-bailing, and became the gold standard at over 100 coastal stations. This boat didn't follow trends, it created them. Its design was so reliable, the Royal National Lifeboat Institution (RNLI) in the UK adopted and modified it for their own life-saving fleet. Crews didn't just operate it, they trusted it. And even after the more advanced 47-footer came along, many units begged to keep their 44s in service. One retired coastie summed it up perfectly. "We had newer boats, but the 44, she always brought us home." It even came with a stamped manual titled Procedures for Capsize Recovery. Over 110 units were built, and remarkably, many are still in use for training today. Because when something works this well, you don't throw it out. You honor it. 2. 36-foot motor lifeboat, type TRS. She was quiet, made of wood, and carried no fancy radar. But ask any old-school coastie and they'll tell you, this boat had soul. Commissioned in 1937, the 36-foot motor lifeboat, type TRS, served until the mid-1980s. For nearly 50 years, it was the Coast Guard's most trusted lifeboat, riding out storm after storm on both coasts. Fully self-righting and self-bailing, its double-planked hull could take a thrashing. Compact and maneuverable, it often slipped into tight spots where larger MLBs dared not go. And yet, it offered no comfort. No enclosed cabin, no heater, no shock-absorbing seats. Crews stood the whole mission soaked, freezing, and focused. Starting the engine sometimes meant cranking it by hand during a storm. In one legendary 1960s rescue off Oregon, a TRS punched through 25-foot breakers to save 6 fishermen. The coxswain later said, "We weren't sure we'd make it, but the boat never flinched. She just kept pushing." She was the last wooden MLB the Coast Guard ever built. And when she was finally retired, many cried, because this wasn't just a boat. It was a partner forged in storms. 1. 36-foot motor lifeboat type T. The waves were still winning until this boat hit the water. Because when steel met surf for the first time, everything changed. The 36-foot motor lifeboat Type T was the original game changer. Built in the early 1900s, it was the first MLB constructed from riveted steel. Strong, low-slung, and fearless, it redefined what rescue meant. Before it, wooden boats were patched constantly or lost to storms. But the Type T? It fought back. Its deep V hull and low center of gravity let it plow through angry surf like a tank with oars. More than a machine, it marked a mindset shift. Crews didn't just hope anymore, they expected to bring people home. In 1916, off North Carolina, one Type T hauled 11 survivors through 9 hours of freezing sleet. And today, over a century later, at least one hull still sits in a maritime museum, a steel legend that started it all. Some were so well built they became fishing boats after retirement, and they're still floating. The Type T and its wooden successor, the TRS, laid the foundation for every heroic lifeboat that followed. And that's why this is where the legacy begins and ends. They flipped, they fought, they saved lives when no one else could. If that kind of grit inspires you, smash that like button, subscribe for more heroic machines, and stick around because we're just getting started with the legends of the sea.